Enhance your experience by becoming a supporting member. Gain access to unseen videos and video requests. 3-day free trial by visiting zionmembership.com.
Chosen ones, Empath, I don't want you to settle for anything, especially after being involved with a narcissist in your life. I don't want you to settle for anything below a fellow empath relationship of whatever kind, honestly. And I know you might not be able to find empaths in all areas of your life, but if you can find an empath in a friendship or a romantic relationship or a colleague or an associate or a family member, it's going to really be beneficial for you, But a lot of you have been involved in romantic narcissistic relationships with the narcissist involved in your life. And I want to make it clear that don't look to find another empath. Another empath will come along your way in your journey at the right time. Don't try and search for empaths or go on empath dating sites, because it's probably filled with a lot of narcissists pretending to be empaths, right? But with that being said, someone along your journey may come along your way. Might not happen overnight. Might happen in a few months after the narcissist that is involved in your life. It might happen in 6 months or a year, or maybe even a few years, or several years. Who knows? But I think that personally, you should wait until you discover a fellow empath, right? And the thing about empath relationships is you both are connected spiritually. Very deeply, you're connected spiritually. And it's not that you're both people pleasing, it's that you're connected spiritually to one another and making the other person feel well, making the other person feel secure, making the other person feel comfortable is your priority. You want what's best for them. So it's totally different from people pleasing, but you want what's best for them. And you're aligning with someone who's at your frequency, who's radiating at your frequency, right? So you can have a really beautiful relationship with a fellow empath, right? And it's not impossible, it's not fairy tale, it can happen, But with this being said, a vital, crucial component of the empath relationship for it to withstand the test of time is to have transparent communication, is to be honest, is to say what upsets you. Because, the male and female dynamics, males think differently to females, right? And I was talking to someone the other day, and they brought up an example about how the wife comes home from work. I've heard this said before by a pastor. It was a pastor that I was watching. You don't have to take it as religious or law or factual, but there's knowledge you can extract from it. But I remember a pastor saying it as well. It's similar, not exactly the same, but like a wife comes home from work, slams the bag down on the table, opens the cupboard, slams the cupboard, and the husband says to the wife, like, "What's wrong with you?" And the wife says, nothing, I'm fine. And the husband can clearly see she's not fine, but the wife's saying she's fine. Now, it's not the fault, but this is what exists in a lot of relationships, whereas the empath and empath relationship has got to stay firmly grasped, if that's the right description, to this transparent communication. So if there's something that one of them said that upset the other one, you've got to know that these little hiccups in the road can actually put you on better terms, you see. These little hiccups that you may face, as much as
An empath relationship is like sunshine and rainbows and peaches and cream. It's not always going to be that way. You may face hiccups in the road, but if something upsets you about your partner or your friend or whoever this relationship is you're involved with another empath, if something upsets you or hurts your feelings, if you communicate to them, this is what upset you. The other empath in the relationship will ease your spirit. They will make you understand the reason why things carried out that way. They'll put your mind at ease, not for people pleasing, but because there's actually a reason to why things carried out in that fashion from their side of things. And it's not like one of you's right, one of you's wrong. You reach a point where you understand both each other's points of view. And that's what will happen through transparent communication. So transparent communication is a vital, crucial part that needs to be incorporated upon an empath relationship. You see, for example, in the narcissistic relationships you're involved with, these narcissists in your life, you may have been transparent in your communication, open, honest, pure, loving, caring, and they wasn't doing the same. So it was all one-sided. They were deceiving, they were manipulating, they were gaslighting, they were devaluing, they were doing all of that while you was being open and transparent and honest. So you wasn't aligned in the right frequency with someone. But with another empath, if something hurts your feelings, if something is worrying you or troubling you, even something worrying you or troubling you at work, speak to them about it. Tell them. They may be able to give you some advice or help you navigate your problems, vice versa. If something's going on in your own life or you've got worries and concerns, it's not concerning them, but you've got worries or concerns in your own life about something. This transparent communication is like the highest form of intimacy, realistically. Now, I know some of you may disagree, and when you hear me talk about intimacy, you may think of sex and things like that, but realistically, transparent communication is the highest form of intimacy, because you're being intimate with one another by speaking the open, honest truth and being transparent and honest and pure, to the best of your capabilities. You're doing it to the best of your capabilities. You're only human, no one's perfect, but you're doing it to the best that you can possibly express yourself at that current time, right? But this is the highest form of intimacy, and this is what I'm saying. Your brains, your heart, your soul interlinks, you connect, and the more and more you are transparent, open, honest with each other, the more and more your bond will develop and build. Now, even if you get into actual intimacy, like physical intimacy, if this was a romantic relationship with the empath involved in your life, for example, from the narcissist involved in your life, intimacy is used as a way to get your guard down, to manipulate you more, to love bomb you, to do these things, right? It's all done with bad intentions. But two empaths being, well, even though I've said that transparency and authenticity and being true and honest is the most highest form of intimacy, if you are involved in intimacy with a fellow empath, you're both gonna want to connect with each other in the best possible way and be pure with one another, and it will be something refreshing, it will be something new, it will be a whole new experience that you haven't experienced before. It will be a beautiful thing, so, but this will all start to get to that level of feeling that connection. If you're actually physically intimately involved, it's all going to start with the transparent communication and the intimacy of that kind. That's going to lead up to that, because you would have built such a rapport, such a chemistry, such a connection, such a bond, that even if you are intimate, and when I say intimacy, it could just be, for example, a kiss, but your brains and your connection will connect so much through doing that, And if, for example, you go further down the road with intimacy, you're both gonna want what's best for the other person. You're gonna connect really, really on another level. So you've really got to detach from anything from your past. You've really got to detach from anything at all, and really bring love into the center of this bond. So I should have probably said this earlier, but love is one of the highest forms of frequency as well. So transparency and authenticity, the reason why you're being transparent, I should have probably said this earlier, but the reason why you're being transparent and honest is from a place of love. So all this is coming from the empath's love. You're being transparent, you're communicating transparently, you're connecting beautifully, you're doing it from a place of love. That's the highest form of intimacy, love. You're doing it from a highest form. When I say love, it doesn't just have to be like intimately involved in a physical way, but you're doing it from a spiritual standpoint of love. Why you're speaking transparently, and why you're both speaking transparently and building a unit and a union, under God, under the universe, however you want to look at it. You're building a beautiful bond, and the same goes when you decide to get closer to one another in a more physical way. You'll be doing it in a beautiful essence. You'll be doing it in a beautiful way. You've really got to get rid of any demons, or you've got to really get rid of any negative energy from your past or anything like that. You've really got to strip down and get rid of that. And that's why open, transparent communication at all times is vital. Speak what's in your mind, speak what's in your heart, speak what's in your soul to your partner, to your husband, to your wife, to the fellow empath. Don't have any trauma left over from you, from the narcissists that are involved in your life. Don't have any, get back to basics, go back to, the ground level and build, with this new, beautiful person that's been blessed to be in your life. That's what it's about. That's what it's honestly about. So empath to empath relationships are the most beautiful type of relationship you're going to find on this earth. And every single one of you, there is an empath out there for you. Do not settle for less than you deserve. Do not settle in another narcissistic relationship or toxic relationship. You've already gone through the experience with narcissists involved in your life. You deserve to find happiness and a beautiful bond with a fellow empath. You don't deserve to be caught up in another narcissistic relationship just because you're going through bouts of loneliness or feeling alone or craving human connection. Take your time out away from relationships altogether on your healing journey. Take your, disconnect from your heart, mind, and soul. Don't even think about them. Don't even think about wanting one. Your mind might wander from time to time, like you want one in the future or something like that. But literally disconnect completely in your heart, mind, and soul. Don't think lustfully. Don't think that you want. Don't think anything like that. Just focus on yourself. And if you do this at a specific time ordained by God or the universe, someone will present themselves in your life. You don't even have to go looking for it. If you bear patience, you take the time, someone will come into your path at the right time. Possibly they're going to be an awakened empath too, just like you. Possibly they might have gone through narcissistic abusive experience with a narcissist involved in their life, like you've gone through the narcissistic abusive experience with a narcissist involved in your life. Possibly they might be less awakened than you, so you might have to help them. But at the end of the day, you're going to discover a fellow empath. You might even encounter a fellow empath that maybe doesn't realize they've been through narcissistic abuse to the extent that you know about it so deeply, so you might be able to educate them and help them in that way, you know, and help bring them closure to their past or whatnot. But same goes, they might be the one that helps educate you about certain things, because each one teach one. You know, everyone can learn from each other. You know, you can learn from a child. You can learn. You know, there's nothing that thinks that you know it all. You know, everyone can learn something new every day from anyone. You know, and you all learn from each other. Well, empathetic people, good, honest people, transparent people, pure people, you know, that have no agendas, no motives, that will share information, are happy to teach someone something, don't feel like they need to harbor secrets or to get ahead or anything like that. They're openly share their knowledge, you know. And sometimes you can learn from children. For example, I'm going off topic now, but it reminds me of a story that someone at work told me. He said there was a lorry. I'm going well off topic now, but there's a point of it. He said there was a lorry that got stuck in a tunnel. So the lorry couldn't, I don't know what you call them in the States. What do you call them? An 18-wheeler. An 18-wheeler or a lorry got stuck in a tunnel, right? Because it was too big. It got stuck, so it couldn't get through. And they brung like all the people, all the engineers and the scientists to try to work out how to get this lorry out of the tunnel. And a little boy come along and let the air out of the tires, and it gave enough leeway, enough gap for the lorry to get out of the tunnel. Now I know this is just a story, but you can extract knowledge from what it's saying. You can learn from someone who is younger than you. You can learn from someone who's a child. You can learn. You know, there's signs and wisdom all around you, right? I've gone a bit off topic of the empath relationship, but what I'm trying to say to you is you can learn from them. They can teach you something, and that's what it's all about: building a bond together under God, under the universe, together. You know, it's a beautiful thing. So please, empaths and chosen ones, don't settle for less. Raise the bar. You know, you should have in your mind, from the moment when you were discarded by this narcissist involved in your life, or reverse discarded, or you cut them off because they become too toxic, whenever you've started to awaken, you should have in your mind that you're raising the bar. And you may have to sit with that thought for a long period of time that you're raising the bar. And you might encounter plenty of people along the way that miss the mark, and they're not at where you've raised that bar to. You know, you may encounter several people that are not at that level. You know, you could encounter people, you know, that are presenting themselves as a partner or a friend or whatnot, and they're not at that level. You know, that's what you've got to experience. Some of you might have a few people that you encounter. Some of you might have more. That's just the way it goes. You're going to encounter people that are not at that level, and you've got to navigate past them. Because if you navigate past what's circulating around you, you'll be able to align with someone who's more destined for you, your divine counterpart, a soulmate, something like that. You'll be able to align with a fellow empath that maybe not circulating around you like these narcissists that are involved in your life do, you know? So it's really a beautiful thing, finding a fellow empath, and just take your time with it. Really take your time. Be patient with one another. And I need to reinforce, just keep the communication transparent and honest to the best of your capabilities, you know? Because that's coming from a place of love. And you can build on that so much. You can build on that. And like I said, remember, transparency, authentic communication. Transparent communication is key. It's the highest form of intimacy, you know. Speaking in that way to one another, which will make everything else more beautiful when you get to the point of time to engage in that sort of stuff, you know, like physical intimacy, etc. If this is a romantic relationship, for example, you know, it's going to make everything more beautiful. And plus, empaths, will didn't even touch on it. Videos are going a bit long, maybe I should touch on it. You know, empaths have a very powerful, you may not be aware of this, but empaths have a very, very powerful, I don't know if powerful is the right word, strong aura, a strong energy to do with sexual relations. Because empaths know what the other person is feeling and what the other person wants. Right? They know that in their hearts. So by them just knowing this instinctively, knowing this, they get a knowing. Also with the transparent communication. So if there's two empaths that can feel what each other want, know what each other want, right? Then, and they communicate open and honestly with each other, it's a beautiful thing, you know? It's really a beautiful thing. And empaths are, you know, they say empaths are highly sensitive. I don't know too much about that analysis, but empaths are sensitive. You know, empaths are sensitive. Like, it sounds like empaths are weak or something like that, like I'm trying to say, but empaths in general are very sensitive souls. Because they are dealing with a lot of external influence from people's energy, from negative energy. They feel it in their spirit, you know. So you'll feel like you're going through a cleanse by communicating with a fellow empath. You'll feel like your body's being cleansed of any negative energy. You'll be able to get rid of any trauma from your past. You'll be able to get rid of any negative energy, any negative frequencies from your past. You'll be able to get rid of, you know, and it's not like you're healing for another person, but just by transparent communication, this stuff will just get stripped away from you. Just get stripped away from you, you know. And it's almost like being reborn again. Now you might think I'm getting a bit too deep, but it really is like being reborn again, because, you know, especially victims of narcissistic abuse, you know, you don't know what you deserve, you don't know what you want, you don't know, you're a bit lost, you're in the fog, you know. So when you unite with a fellow empath, it's like being reborn in your purest state. So you got to show your purest sensitive version to them, and they also show their purest sensitive version to you, you know. And be authentic and transparent in your communication always is a vital and a must, you know. You must try and maintain that and build on that, you know. Through the course of time, build on your transparency. It's always, you can always improve. Build on your transparency, build on your honesty, you know, build on your authentic communication, because all of this transparency, all the authenticity is basically strengthening the bond between you two. These are like positive soul ties. You've probably heard me talk about a lot about negative soul ties, negative energy soul ties, that sort of stuff. You've probably heard me talk about that stuff before, but with a fellow empath, you're building positive, good, harmonious, if that's the right word, like real beautiful soul ties, you know. Because you can have good soul ties as well. And soul ties don't just exist in romantic relationships. Soul ties can exist in friendships as well, just to point that out, you know, or family members or whatnot. You can have soul ties, but soul ties with a romantic relationship, if you're physically intimate as well, plus the authentic communication, the highest form of intimacy, being transparent and truthful and honest, is really strengthening your soul tie and creating a beautiful bond between one another. So anyway, I'm going on a bit long, but I'll leave this video here. And if you would like to know more about you must be sure on yourself, you can do better than a narcissist, click this video here. So anyway, we'll be back with another video soon. Peace.